everybody, Yoga Deidre here. For those of you following me on Instagram or Facebook, check it out. Otherwise, if you're in the Plymouth, Wisconsin area and are wanting to practice some yoga from the Plymouth Yoga Studio, you're welcome to join us for that adventure as well. Today I'll be doing a more of a Vinyasa type yoga flow video today within my own home yoga space. I just got over a little bit of a sickness myself, so I did not want to leave the premises in order to practice safe social distancing once more. So I also mentioned the last video and on my Instagram that I am pregnant, so this yoga video will also be modified for those of you who are pregnant and wanting to do some yoga in that respect as well, and you're not really sure which poses you can or cannot do. Don't worry, I have modified this class so that you're more than able to participate without the concern that maybe you should or should not be doing a certain pose or not. So let's find a nice comfortable seat. I am again sitting on top of a blanket, but it's not necessary. You can elevate your hips slightly even by sitting on a book or a block if you have one. Otherwise, just sitting directly on your mat is perfectly fine as well. And just find a nice comfortable position. Centering your shoulders directly over your hips, your head directly over your heart, and lengthen up your spine nice and tall to give a nice clear torso for a clean breath. And just center yourself here. The spread of worry and fear is continuing and a lot more contagious than this virus seems to be. We are practicing social distancing to the point of not leaving our homes. Most of us are either working from home, figuring out how to file for unemployment because your workplace is shut down, or you're going in because you are considered essential. But the worry and fear is always there in some shape or form. Let us today give ourselves the chance to come up for air. Take a deep breath in, full of positivity and light. Allow yourself to set all of your thoughts and anxieties off to the side and bathe in the light of positivity, harmony, and peace. Move your body from pose to pose with that positive energy, filling you up and letting go of the tension. Come back to a sense of balance within yourself. Find what feels normal, good, and light. And by moving this way, by breathing in this lightness, by thinking this way for even one practice, notice if it can change your outlook for the day. So we're going to practice just a simple Ujjayi pranayama today. It's a breathing technique that is associated with ocean breath. How it isn't simply just breathing in and out of your nose, but you have a slight constriction within the back of your throat. So it just kind of makes an audible breath. So again, what it looks like is just simply breathing in and out of your nose. Sorry, my dog is next to you and he has the hiccups right now, so if you hear any strange little noises, that is him. So take a nice deep breath in through your nose and constrict just slightly your esophagus, the back of your throat. And you're just going to feel that breath enter in through your nostrils and moving down your windpipe, down your lungs and into your belly. Drawing that nice, clean breath, air in with that slight constriction so you can almost feel that breath going down. You can hear it as though a wave is rushing into sand. And on your breath out, you're still breathing out through your nose, but you still have that constriction there, and it's that sound as though the wave is flowing back out to the ocean. And just go through several rounds there at your own pace. Taking in full and deep breaths. And closing your eyes or having a soft gaze out in front of you to really draw yourself in. Creating that audible breath. Connecting yourself to the ocean. And just visualize the water coming into shore and back out. Go through a couple more rounds here at your own pace. And again, we're going to be visualizing, bringing in and moving through that light and positivity today. Let's bring a little bit of movement in with our arms. So on an inhale breath, let's bring our arms up overhead. And exhale, let them fall down to the sides. Inhale them upwards, maybe you gaze up at your fingertips. And exhale, maybe you draw your chin down towards your chest. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale. And again, now you do this at your own pace, matching your own breath with your movement. We'll go through again a couple more rounds. And on your next inhalation, reach up as high as you can up towards the ceiling. You're going to reach up even taller, inhaling a little bit higher. And then let's just reach over towards the left here. So reaching up as high as we can, grabbing our right wrist with our left hand, and then bending over towards the left. Making a side body stretch. Anchoring down through both hip points and finding this extension from our torso out towards our fingertips. Draw another breath in and reach up towards the ceiling once more. Grab the opposite wrist with the opposite hand, and then let's bend over towards the right. Find length as you inhale, and exhale, draw both hands back down towards your sides. Let's just give a little bit of love to our shoulders and our upper backs, as that's often where a lot of tension is held. So we can simply, on an inhale breath, bring our shoulders up towards our ears. Draw them back, down your shoulders, start to exhale. Inhale them forward. Up towards your ears, back and down, exhaling. And just moving in this circle, again, connecting your breath with your movement. Your hands can be placed on top of your thighs if you'd like. Really just accentuating each movement. Let's reverse that circle. Inhaling again up towards our ears, up, forward, down, back. Inhaling up once again, forward. Exhaling them down, back. Again, going at this a couple more rounds with your breath. Maybe now we just bring our hands towards our shoulders themselves. And we'll again just do some shoulder circles. We're just bringing some more awareness towards our shoulder space. Again, reversing that circle. Now let's do a little bit of cow face arms. What that looks like is you're simply going to bring your right arm up and reach back behind you. And then you're going to bring your left hand and try to touch your right fingertips. And it's perfectly fine if they're nowhere near to touching. One side is usually a little bit more open than the other. But just try to lengthen your spine upwards and reaching towards your fingertips, feeling that opening within your chest and that broadening of your shoulder space. Let's release, and this time draw your left arm up. Reach back behind you, and then try to touch your right hand towards your left fingertips. As you can see that this time I have a little bit more space between my right fingertips and my left. And you can do this with a strap or a belt or a towel as well if you just need a little bit of assistance. But it's again not necessary. And let's release. You can remove any blanket or block that you've been sitting on off towards the side. And let's find our way to a tabletop position. Your shoulders are directly over your wrists. Your hip points are directly over your knees. And we're going to do some cat and cows. So on an inhale breath, let's tilt our tailbone up towards the sky, dipping your bellies towards the mat and reaching the crown of your head upwards towards the sky as well. And exhale, let's round that tailbone down, arching your upper back upwards. And now you reach the crown of your head down towards the mat for cat. Inhale for cow, tilting your tailbone up, dipping the belly and shining your heart. And exhale, rounding your tailbone down, arching your upper back. Now the crown of your head down towards the mat. Then go through this at your own pace with your breath, using that Ujjayi pranayama that we practiced at the beginning to really accentuate that movement by having that audible breath. And maybe we find a little bit of a side body stretch from here, so we can simply look back towards our toes. Inhaling back towards center. Exhale, look back towards the other side. Come back towards center. Now we're going to feel a little bit silly. And it's okay because we're in the comfort of our own home, so no one can really see us. What we're simply going to do is turn our entire torso as if our belly is like a barrel and we're churning butter. So you're just giving some extra movements in with your hips. You're still dipping and arching your back, but it's just more accentuated. Again, imagine as though your belly is the barrel and you're churning this butter up, down, and around. And it's okay again to feel silly. Let's churn our butter in the opposite direction. Beautiful. Come back towards a neutral tabletop position. We're going to do some gate pose or a side plank. So starting with our right hand, keeping it directly underneath our shoulder here, we're simply going to extend back our left leg. Now we have a couple options. You can keep your right leg right where it is, or if you are finding that this is a little bit hard to balance, you can rotate your right knee 90 degrees back behind you and create that as a little more stability. And then you'll just draw your left arm up towards the ceiling. And this can be your gate pose. Otherwise, if you'd like to go to a full side plank, what you'll do instead is you're going to have your left foot extended, but it's going to be on top of your right foot. Again, planting your fingertips firmly into the mat, going to your depth. Wherever you are, keep your hips lifted. Drawing that left arm again up, stacking shoulder blades on top of one another. Maybe you'd like to raise this left leg off the right leg. Mindfully lower yourself back down. Come back towards a tabletop position. And maybe take a little bit of a moment off your wrists. You can do some wrist circles here by placing the back of your palms towards one another. Just going in a circular motion. Going in the opposite direction. You can even bring yourself back towards the mat, plus place the tops of your hands back towards your legs. Then normal once again. Now you stay where you are, but I'm going to turn the other direction just so I don't have to do this backwards. We're going to be, this time, placing our left hand, creating that be on the mat, and extending out our right leg this time to find our side plank or our gate pose. Again, stacking your left shoulder directly over top your left hand. Fingertips spread out wide. You draw your right arm all the way up towards the ceiling on an inhale breath. Finding your depth today, however that may be. And really lifting your hip points upwards. If you raise that right leg off the ground or off your left foot. Take another deep breath in. And exhale, let's come back towards our tabletop position. I'll be moving back towards the front of my mat. And now we're just simply going to sink our hips back towards a child's pose. Now you can find a nice wide stance here by bringing the edges of your feet, legs, off to the edges of your mat and pointing your toes inwards. You'll sink your hips over top your heels and just reach your arms out in front of you. Placing your forehead on the mat, you fully surrender here in more of an open child's pose. Maybe today you'd like more of a traditional balasana, which is where your legs are touching one another You once again sink your hips over your heels, but you're just going to draw your arms back behind you and you fold over top your legs. Again, placing your forehead either on the mat or near it. If you're like me and you need a little bit more space for your belly, we have one more option. I'm going to keep my hips directly over top my legs. And I'm just going to lower my torso towards the mat, reaching my arms forward for more of a heart to earth pose. This just creates a little bit more space for my belly and then creates more of an intense stretch within my upper back. Wherever you are at today, find that place of surrender. And just breathe here. Go through a couple more rounds of breath. Use your next inhale to lift yourself forward, placing your hands, spreading your fingertips out wide on your mat. Let's curl your toes underneath, and you're going to lift your hip points up and back for your first downward facing dog. You can start to pedal it out here, lowering one heel and then the other. Walking your dog, allowing your hamstrings to stretch. Again, your arms can be shoulder width apart or more towards the edges of your mat for a little bit more openness. But fingertips are pointing forward and they're stretched out wide. Lifting your hip points up tall towards the ceiling or the sky. Creating a nice pyramid shape. Getting out all the cracks. Coming to stillness, allowing your heels to drop with gravity. Using your next inhalation to look up towards your hands. Let's bend your knees. And then take a bunch of little steps all the way up towards the front of your mat. Finding a forward fold. Your feet can be hip width distance or a little bit wider or zipped up, whichever is what you're feeling today. Really hinging from your hips here, you're draping your torso over top your thighs, allowing the crown of your head to come down towards the earth. Your hands may fall wherever. It's perfectly fine to have a micro bend in your knees. If you have really tight hamstrings like I do, you might have a really deep bend, and that's perfectly fine. But just breathe here, releasing everything. Maybe you want to sway yourself from side to side or walk your fingertips from the left towards the right. Finding what feels good. Again, maybe you like gravity to help you out, so you clasp your hands on your elbows and come to more of a ragdoll pose. Wherever you are, let's find some stillness. And exhale fully. Inhale to a halfway lift, bringing your whole body so that it's a nice 90-degree angle. Reaching the crown of your head out long, if you're like me, towards this plant. And then exhale, release yourself back down, forward fold. Ground down through your feet, maybe have an extra bend in your knees and engage your core to help lift you all the way up towards standing. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale your hands down towards your heart center, Anjali Mudra. Let's go through some sun salutations. You inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, release down, planting your hands in the mat, step back towards a plank pose. Inhale here. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga, elbows hug in. Inhale up to your cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a breath. On your next inhalation, look up towards your hands, bend in the knees, and walk or jump on up towards your forward fold. Exhale completely. Inhale up to your halfway lift. Exhale, release down, forward fold. Grounding down through your feet, you lift yourself all the way up towards standing, arms reach up. Exhale, hands towards heart. Once again, inhale, arms reach. Exhale, bow down through center. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, release down, plant your hands in the mat. This time, step back, just your right foot, low lunge. You have your left knee directly over top your ankle. And lift up yourself onto fingertips, or maybe again a block or some books if you need, to find a little bit of extra length. Plant both hands on the mat and step back towards a plank pose. Again, your fingertips are spread out wide here. Weight is in the fingertips, not the wrists. Inhale. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale up to your cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale your hips up and back. Find your downward facing dog. Again, pedal it out, take a breath. Let's inhale this left leg up and back behind us for a stretch. We can stay right here, finding this length. Or we can bend our left leg at a 90-degree angle and find some rotation in our hip. Keeping our shoulders parallel to the front of our mat. Breathe light into that left hip space. Let's inhale our hips back towards center. Hug our knee in, knee to nose. Step it on up, low lunge. Again, find light and space for an inhale breath. Exhale, step your right foot up to meet the left, forward fold. Inhale up to your halfway lift. Exhale, release back down, Uttanasana, forward fold. Ground down through your feet, engage your core, lift yourself up, all the way up, arms reach up. Exhale, hands towards heart. Take a breath. Let's inhale our arms up overhead again. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale to the halfway lift. Exhale, release down. Stepping back just your left foot this time. Our right leg stays forward. Find length. Shining your heart. Letting in that positivity, that peace. Plant both hands on the mat. Step back, plank pose. Inhale here, finding that strength. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale up to your cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale your hips up and back, finding your downward facing dog. Take a breath, pedal it out. And then let's inhale that right leg up and back behind us for a stretch. Stay here, or you can bend that right leg 90 degrees, finding a rotation within our hip point. Shoulders are still parallel to the front of your mat. Crown of your head is between your arms. Inhale your hips back towards center. Hug that right knee in, knee to nose. Step it up, low lunge. Inhale here. Exhale, left foot up to meet the right, forward fold. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, release down. Ground down through your feet, lift yourself all the way up overhead, arms reach. Exhale, hands towards heart. Take a breath, maybe take a break for some water. Now that we're all warmed up, we can continue on. Let's inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up to the halfway lift. Exhale, release down. Step back your right leg. Left foot is forward, low lunge. We are going to find a warrior two stance from right here. So you're staying right where you are. I'm going to quickly switch around, so I'm not, again, doing this backwards. We're going to rotate our right foot so a 90 degrees and place it on our mat. So our feet are now perpendicular towards one another. Your feet are actually also in line with each other, so it is a heel to arch alignment. From this point, you're going to ground down through your feet, engage your core, and then lift yourself all the way up towards a warrior two pose. Your arms reach out towards the sides. Your hip points are actually not facing the front anymore. They're opened up towards the side. You still have a nice deep bend, just like a lunge here, where your left knee is directly over your ankle. But you're really anchored down through this back edge of your right foot, hugging muscle to bone all the way into your hip point, and not just kind of having, a little bit of lax in this leg. Put some muscle into that, some integrity. Gazing off past your left fingertips. You're going to inhale, reach forward, flip your grip, and tilt yourself up and back towards a peaceful warrior. Your right hand can go down along your right leg, or if you'd like, you can place it back behind you, reaching towards the front of your left hip for a bind. Finding length, we find yourself with another side bend here, gazing up at our left fingertips. Breathe. Let's inhale, come back towards warrior two. Exhale, we're going to find an extended side angle. Your left elbow can come on top of your left thigh, and you can reach your right arm up towards the ceiling, or if you'd like, create a nice long diagonal line from toes to fingertips, reaching out towards the side wall. We're going to flow through these three poses with our breath. Inhaling, coming up towards your warrior two. Exhale, tilt back, peaceful warrior. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. Repeat that 2 more times, connecting your breath. Maybe finding a little bit of playfulness with your hand movements. We'll all meet back in warrior two when we're done. Once we're all there, you'll take another deep inhalation, lifting yourself up. And then let's exhale, circle our arms down, finding our way back to that low lunge. We're going to plant both hands in the mat, step back our left leg, finding a plank pose. Inhaling, exhale, lower yourself down, chaturanga. Inhale up to your cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Take your next inhalation to look up towards your hands and make a bunch of little steps up towards your forward fold. Exhale fully at the top. Inhale up to your halfway lift. Exhale, release back down. Grind down through your feet, lift yourself all the way up overhead, hands reach. Exhale, hands towards heart. Beautiful, let's try the other side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, release down the step back your left foot. Low lunge. Find your lift here for an inhale breath. Let's rotate that left leg now so it's Our left foot is perpendicular towards our right. Heel to arch alignment. Ground down through your feet. And inhale yourself all the way up towards your warrior two. Gazing off past our right fingertips. Again, we're anchoring down through that back edge of our pinky toe, edge of our left foot. Our right leg is directly in line with our pointer and middle toe of our right foot. Once this ponytail is in place, we can begin by inhaling, reaching forward, flipping our grip and tilting ourselves up and back, finding our peaceful warrior on our right side. Again, you can draw your left arm down the length of your left leg, or reach it back and around towards your right front hip for a bind. Let's inhale, engaging our core, come back towards warrior two. Exhale, find an extended side angle. Either arm up towards the ceiling or, again, creating a nice long diagonal line from fingertips to toes. Keeping your core really engaged, you're not sinking down towards your thigh. Find that integrity within your spine. Let's connect these three movements again with our breath. We inhale, engage, core to warrior two. Exhale, tilt back, peaceful warrior. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. Do that 2 more times, connecting to your breath. Finding a nice flow between the two. Meeting back in warrior two once we're finished. Taking your time. When you're here, let's all circle our arms down and around on an exhale breath, finding our low lunge. Step back our right foot to find plank pose. Inhale here. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale up to your cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Or finding a child's pose, knowing that it's perfectly fine if you need a rest. Let's take a breath here. Inhale, bend your knees, look up towards your fingertips. Make your way on up to your forward fold. Exhaling completely. Inhale up to your halfway lift. Exhale, release back down. Ground down through your feet, lift yourself all the way up overhead, arms reach. Exhale, hands towards heart. Let's inhale our arms up once again. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to the halfway lift. Exhale, release down, step back your right foot once again. Find your low lunge. I'm going to turn around while you stay put. Let's find our warrior two footing by dropping that right heel, heel to arch alignment, circling our arms up and around warrior two. Let's go right into our extended side angle from right here. Bringing our left elbow onto our left thigh and reaching our right arms up overhead towards the ceiling or diagonally out towards the wall. We're gonna engage your core, lift yourself back up, warrior two. A little bit different this time. Let's straighten that front knee. You're gonna reach your torso forward, finding a length, a couple more inches of length within your fingertips, and then exhale, tilting yourself down, finding a triangle pose. Your shoulders are still stacked on top of one another, but your left hand is now on top of your left shin or your ankle. Or again, if you have a blocker book, you can use that to bring the floor closer towards you. Gaze is up at your right fingertips. Your torso is out long, so it's parallel to the earth. Core is engaged. Let's engage your core and inhale once again. You kind of a bend in your knee. Bring both feet so they're parallel to one another here. And let's lengthen up long towards our torso and bring your hands towards your hips. A nice neutral pelvis. Again, you find length within your spine through the crown of your head. Inhale here, feeling proud and tall. Exhale, hinge from your hips and lower yourself down, wide-legged forward fold. You might have to play with the amount of space for your forward fold. You're going to reach the crown of your head down towards the mat. Again, your hinge is coming from your hips. Your hands can reach down towards the mat as well. If you'd like to gently intensify the stretch, you can walk your hands back behind you, bringing the crown of your head closer towards the earth. Again, if you have that book or block here, you can bring it underneath your crown to again bring the floor closer towards you. Find a sense of release in this pose. Allow the tension to melt off your upper back, then down on the mat. Wherever you are, let's lengthen our torso out long so it's like a half back, half lifted position. Engaging your core, let's simply hover over the earth, bringing your hands towards your hips. And then inhale, lifting yourself back up towards the top. Smile. Let's bring our right leg, so now we're in a warrior two leg position, but just with our right leg forward now. Making sure we still have that heel to arch alignment. Our arms can go back out towards the sides. Finding our nice strong warrior two. Let's exhale, come to an extended side angle. Gaze is up at the fingertips. A nice strong solid foundation in the feet. Inhale, engage your core, lift yourself back up, warrior two. Let's straighten that front knee. Reach our torsos forward, giving length towards our fingertips. Exhale, tilt into your version of triangle. Gazing up at your left fingertips. And again, have integrity within your spine here. Your core is parallel to the earth. Let's inhale, bring yourself back towards your warrior two. Your legs come back towards our wide-legged forward fold position so our feet are parallel to one another now. Your hands can come back towards your hips. Again, find length in your spine as you inhale up. Exhale, hinging at your hips, lower yourself down once more, wide-legged forward fold. And this time, maybe let's find some movement. So we can simply walk ourselves off towards the left and towards the right. Doing what feels good. Maybe you're still craving some stillness or some extra tension release by walking your hands back behind your legs. Crown of your head down towards the mat. Take a couple more rounds of breath here. Wherever you are, let's lengthen our spine out long so we're at a half lifted position. Hands are directly below our face. Let's engage your core. Bring your hands towards your hips and hover over the earth. Inhale, lift back up towards standing. Let's come back towards warrior two footing. Right leg forward. Circle arms down and around. Find a right-legged low lunge. Step back our right leg. Find a plank pose. Inhale, lifting yourself, finding that power. Exhale, lower yourself down, chaturanga. Inhale up to your cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Gaze up at your fingertips, take an inhale breath, bending at the knees. Exhale, make your way up to your forward fold. Exhale completely. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, release down. Ground on through your feet, lift yourself all the way up. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hands towards heart. Take a moment to find your breath or grab a drink of water. Finding ourselves at the tops of our mat. We'll inhale our arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at our hips, we find forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, release down, step back your right foot, low lunge. You stay here as I turn myself around. When I'm in this low lunge, I'm going to find my warrior two footing by dropping that right back heel perpendicular to the front or to our left feet. Ground down through our feet. Must circle my arms up and around, warrior two. Now I'm going to ask that you take a moment to either find a block that you have at home or find a thick book. I have a cork block right here, but I know not everybody has access to these. So I don't have a really thick book, but any book can really do. You can even stack a couple on top of one another. I'll just use this one for example. We're going to be needing it in a little bit, so just put that off in front of your mat. So back in our warrior two position, gazing strong past off our left fingertips. Let's find our extended side angle. Finding length in our torso. An extra reach through our fingertips. Let's inhale, engage your core, lift yourself back up, warrior two. Straighten that front knee. Once again, we're going to find that triangle by inhaling, reaching our torso forward and tilting down with our left fingertips down to that block or book, onto our ankle or our left shin. Gazes up at our right fingertips. Let's inhale, engage your core, lift yourself back up, come back towards warrior two. Now this is where we'll need that book or that block. If we have that book, for me, like I said, mine's not super thick, so I'll just prop it up so that it won't fall. But you're going to have that about a foot in front of you, maybe a foot and a half. You're going to refine your warrior two footing. Your right hand is going to come towards your right hip. Let's take a half a step in. And if your book falls, that's perfectly fine. from here, I'm going to simply reach down towards that book. I'm going to be coming into a half moon pose. So this is going to become my standing leg, my left leg. That's going to be straight, and I'm going to be reaching down towards the book. My right leg is going to go straight out towards the wall here. So it's, again, becoming parallel to the earth. Woo. And it's okay to fall. Firmly press that right foot into an imaginary wall behind you. And then slowly, once you find that balance, bring your right arm up, stacking shoulders on top of one another, and your whole crown of your head down towards your right toes are parallel to the earth, finding a half moon. Take another deep breath in. Slowly lower that back foot towards warrior two position. It's okay if the book falls. Let's circle ourselves down and around. Find that low lunge. And we're going to step our way back towards our plank pose. Inhale here. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale up to your cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Let's inhale, look up towards your fingertips. Make your way on up. Forward fold, exhale fully. Inhale up to your halfway lift. Exhale, release down. Ground down through your feet, lift yourself all the way up overhead, arms reach. Exhale, hands towards heart. Let's inhale once more. Exhale, bow down through center. Inhale to the halfway lift. Exhale, release down, step back your left foot. Right leg is forward. Find your warrior two footing. Circle your arms up and around, warrior two. Find your foundation within your feet. Come to your extended side angle with an exhale breath. Noticing how this length plays a huge role now that you know where we're going. Inhale, come back up, warrior two. Let's straighten that front knee. Inhale, reach your torso forward. Exhale, find your triangle. And now see how finding that parallel torso towards the earth, and that your shoulders are still stacked just like you will be with your half moon. Gazes up at your fingertips. Let's find our warrior two. Find your book or your block. This time I will use my block. And again, place it about 1.5 feet or so in front of you. Find your warrior two footing behind that. Place your left hand on your left hip. And you take a half step in from your warrior two stance. On an exhale breath, let's lift off our heel, reach down towards our book or our block, and anchor that left foot into an imaginary wall. Our hips, our leg, foot, all the way to the crown of our head is becoming parallel to the earth. And again, maybe you see that one side is a little bit more balanced than the other. That's perfectly fine. Today it's my left side that's a little better. Play here. again a round of breath. Slowly lower your back leg down, warrior two. Circle your arms down, find your low lunge. Let's move through our last vinyasa. Stepping back our right foot, finding plank pose. Inhale, exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale up to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale your hips up and back one last time, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Once you're satisfied, you can come down towards your mat. Find once again your version of child's pose. Surrender here. Find your breath. Find your balance, your harmony, that peace within. Take a couple of more rounds of breath here. Let's inhale, lift ourselves back up. Bring your legs off to one side, lower yourself down onto your mat. Legs come out in front. And you can either rock and roll down to your back, or make a nice gentle lay down. Hugging your knees up into your chest. Let's cool down our practice. You can sway from side to side. Let's plant our left foot down firmly onto the earth and bring our right ankle on top of our left thigh. We're going to press firmly into our right thigh and pressing it away from us. Finding a nice gentle stretch here. We can stay right here, or if you'd like, you can even raise your left foot now so it's parallel to the earth. Reach behind your left thigh, and your right arm is going to go through your little leg hole here that you've created with your right leg, reaching around to the back side of your left thigh. You're going to press your right elbow into your right thigh, and you're going to find a nice stretch now within your outer right hip. The closer you hug your left leg into your chest, the deeper of a stretch you're going to feel on your outer right hip. This is called a figure four stretch. Find your sense of release. Maybe you even want to sway from side to side here. Let's bring back down our left foot, unravel our right leg, bring that foot down onto the earth, and this time place our left ankle on top of our right thigh, pressing our left hand away into our left thigh, finding a nice gentle version of our figure four. You can stay here, or you can raise your right foot off the earth. We're bringing your shin parallel to the earth, and then pressing your left elbow into your left thigh, keeping both feet activated, toes pointing up towards the sky. And the more that you hug your right knee into your chest, the deeper your stretch you'll feel along the outer edge of your left hip. Slowly lower your right foot back down towards the mat. Unravel your left foot as well. Let's bring our legs off to the edges of our mat. And then just bring your arms out towards a T or a cactus if you'd like. We're going to just do some windshield wipers. By exhaling, lowering your legs off towards one side, gaze is off towards the opposite direction. Inhaling your legs back up towards center. Exhaling them off towards the opposite direction. Again, inhale, legs up towards center. Exhale, drop them off. Go through this at your own pace, finding that massage in your lower spine. Feeling your breath still cool down from practice. From here, I invite you to do a legs up position called Viparati Karini. Now, you have a couple options. You can simply snuggle your shoulder blades underneath and lift your legs up towards the ceiling. And I have, again, really tight hamstrings, so I have a bend in my knees. This is one option. If you're fortunate enough to have a block, or again, you can use books here. You can elevate your hips slightly and use that. Placing that underneath your tailbone. How that looks. As I'll inhale, lift my hips upward. Bring the block to its lowest level. Placing it directly underneath my tailbone. And once again, lift my legs up towards the ceiling. It should feel comfortable, so you might have to play a little bit with the area. If the block is just not comfortable, or the book, because it's just too high, you can simply place a blanket there, again, if you have one. Again, lifting your legs up. Or if you have a handy wall right next to you, you can also come up to the wall where your head will be going away from it. You kind of put your hip point right up next to it, towards the baseboard. And bring your legs up the wall. This might help with the tight hamstrings, as now your legs are a little more forced to be straight. And again, your arms can be down towards your sides or cactus. And you're gonna have your feet, so your toes are pointing not just relaxed up towards the ceiling, but back down, trying to reach them down towards your face. Doing this pose simply for 5 minutes a day can help relieve anxiety and depression, help with insomnia, as your nervous system is finally giving a break because all the blood is rushing in the opposite direction. Your feet are directly over your heart. And this is a nice, simple inversion. So just get comfortable. We will stay here for a couple of minutes. And if you're like me and all and have really bad circulation, I simply bring my knees up and towards my chest. Feel tingling in my toes, and once that tingling goes away, I can return my legs back up the wall or the air. During this time, you can also do some ankle circles, one way and then the other. You can even widen your legs off to more of a V, or simply have stillness. For those who are pregnant and practicing this, if you're definitely showing and you're past that 5-month, 4-month range, I'm just at the beginning of 4 months, and you're concerned about the baby pressing its weight down on your vena cava, I might recommend just finding a nice side lying position instead. But for right now, this will be okay. I have a blanket here to cushion my lower spine. And once again, listening to your body is the most important part of yoga. So you may stay here for a little bit longer than someone else, and that's perfectly fine. Wherever you are, let's lower our legs. Do any last minute poses that you'd like, whether that be plow pose or any more windshield wipers or twists. Or if you're like me and you're completely relaxed, let's simply lengthen ourselves out long on towards our mats, finding our final resting pose of Shavasana. Again, if you're farther along with your pregnancy, stay in a side lying position, preferably on your left. Or switch there halfway through, it's perfectly up to you. Once more, strengthening your entire body down onto the mat. Coming back to your breath. Breathing in that light and positivity, that peace and harmony. Allowing all tensions to still be left towards the side. If any thoughts arise in your head, simply acknowledge them and allow them to pass. And give yourself this time for some stillness. Slowly bring your awareness back to this room. Visualize your body on the mat. Start by making small movements with your toes and your fingertips, your ankles and your wrists, before giving one last big stretch all the way up overhead, taking up space on your mat. And curling yourself inwards, giving yourself one last big hug, rocking from either side till you find fetal pose on your left or your right. And once you're ready, you can come on up towards a seated position. Eyes can remain closed, or a soft gaze out in front of you. You can place your hands on your heart. I invite you to join me in a universal vibration of Om. Again, it is the sound of the universe, pronounced A-U-M, spelled O-M. Let's take a deep inhalation together, a complete exhalation, and inhale to prepare. The light within me honors and respects the light within each and every one of you. Namaste. I want to thank you so much for joining me today in your own yoga space in your home, practicing social distancing during this time frame, but still allowing yourself that self-care, that self-love that you really need, and moving your body for this yoga class. I hope that you greatly enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.